Hi there, Vernacular Faithful. Redcoat here, and I'm going to be hitting the last book for today. So this is another PlayStation entry, and I'm actually surprised at how good a condition this one is in. I guess I never cracked this one out all that often. I guess we'll find out why. So, it is the instruction manual for Mega Man Legends 2. Yes, I did own that game for a brief period of time, and it was fun. I never beat it though. I never got to that point. Uh, maybe later on, I will I will get the gumption to do something like that. But for now, so this follows some of the standard stuff that we saw with the Mega Man X5, which makes sense. I mean, same character, same things. Also, a PlayStation One title, so it makes sense. So we got the this is for PlayStation, E for everyone, Capcom, and the shape is made so that it fits into a CD case because, of course, they were using CD cases for their things, which I mean, that helped them out on certain elements of production. It also meant that for us, users of the games, we had a way of preserving these things much more easily. I mean, granted, CD cases would turn out to be fairly brittle over the years, but I do believe that innovation in game holding technology would lead to actually just games being released in openable and closable cases, particularly after the N64 era, when we got to the GameCube era, and it was necessary for Nintendo to actually store their discs in safe spaces, and PlayStation 2 would follow suit. Or I'm not sure which one of them did it first, but basically, it might have been PlayStation 2 because that was an innovation with DVDs in particular, was making plastic cases. Anyway, I digress. Let's take a look inside, shall we? Also, should look at the back before we go. Same thing that we saw on Mega Man X5. Get onto the edge. Also, destroy your book so that we can know that you bought this game. Ah, I know I riff on that, but I just like saying. Alrighty. So, much like with the X5 thing, we see that they did put a little bit more effort on the inside of this. We've got a black and white inside, though, which means, they're saving some money. Printing in color is expensive. And but much like with other things, I don't think they expected everyone to crack these open. But I do appreciate that they thought of people like myself who would read these. So we got the table of contents and the Capcom Edge headline, stuff you would expect. And then we have this. Now, of course, this is a mainline. This is a title from Capcom, and also of note, this is on a Sony system. So what that means is Sony does not have first-party stuff. At the time, they did not really have that much in the way of first-party stuff. So instead, they got other people on these things. So it wouldn't necessarily be a sign of it being a first-party thing that they have art on the inside. Rather, it's a sign that it's an established company, like Capcom. So, pretty involved little story here. And really, it's going over stuff that you'll already get in the game, but I think that is kind of indicative of the nature of Mega Man Legends, because Mega Man Legends actually has kind of an interesting little story going on, particularly when it reaches to the history of humans and the possibility that there is some link to the rest of the Mega Man history there. I mean, it's always kind of left vague whether or not the X series is actually in the future of the Mega Man series, and the same is true of the Legends. It's left kind of vague whether or not this is actually in the future or if this is a separate sort of thing. But it is a nice little bit that they have that there. So, of course, we're using some in-game imagery. We don't have in-game images of every type of action that you take. Just a basic thing of, this is a thing you can do, this is a thing you can do, this is a thing you can do, this is a thing you can do. And so instead of using the zigzag method, they're just, straight down, info, 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 info. Simple and effective. And we got another image here just for effect for the tourists. like myself. And then, game start, another image here. I mean, most people know how this works. Most people who bought the game know how this works. Then you've got the options screen, which has a lot of options, and of course, our little Lego man, the serve bots, which are, I do like this. This is thematic. It's like, I'm working so hard. You set the options in a particular way. I'm going to make sure that they work. That's a nice little touch. Putting that guy there. And then the battle system. And what's interesting, so like in a lot of these things, they tend to actually put a lot of stuff on the screen when they're talking about the actual what you're going to see on your HUD. But I think this is a nice choice. It means the page is a little bit barren, but I think it's good that they just kind of let it sit there and be like, okay, this is the info. You have this, and you have that. These are the important things here. And then we go over here and we have, okay, that thing that you saw over there, this is this. That thing that you saw over there, this is this. This is that. This is that. That is this. Now, I will say, because they don't have imagery connecting to this, you might not connect everything together. And particularly because Megaman Legends is a little bit more of a complex game. I mean, it's a 3D Mega Man game, which making that transition is tough, as evidenced by Mega Man X 7. And I have to give the Legends team kudos for managing that transition. But I think a big part of what allowed them to do that was the fact that they said, this isn't an X game, this isn't a Mega Man game. We are allowed to do our own things while still carrying the veneer and carrying the feeling, which I think is good. Once again, screens by itself. And you've got all the words in bold, which are then explained over here. With Mega Man, I think he's supposed to be doing a fist pump, but it looks like he's doing a little dance, which I find that gives me a giggle. Also, a little crab dude down here. I think they realized when they from this page was like, this is really empty, and then get over here, and it's like, let's make that less empty. There's a crab dude here, crab dude, and then we get to some very info dense pages. Just talking about how the map works, your item screen, the different types of items you can get, your equipment screen, and how that works. And then you've got the support system. We got a picture of Roll because she is Mega Man's support in this game. I don't know if, because I know Tron is definitely canonically infatuated with Mega Man. I don't know if that. I think that's kind of a thing with Roll and Mega Man, but they're less overt about that. So it's kind of a thing, love triangle, all that stuff. Then you got the cute little monkey, Data. It's interesting because by having these characters be attached to these things, you can basically just say, okay, just look for the monkey in the game. That's where your saves are. Look for Roll. That's where you get. That's where you can get all of your support stuff. Which also thinking about Devil May Cry 5 and the I don't remember her name, the lady who drives the van for Nero. She's basically Roll in that game, which I find interesting. Is it offensive for me to call her Trailer Trash Roll? Yeah, I think it is offensive, but I already said it, so there you go. Attractive though. Anyway. You got Mega Man. I'm not calling Roll Trailer Trash, I'm calling the other character. Anyway, you got Mega Man, is a digger with a sense of justice and courage. Blah, blah, blah. You got Data, and you got Roll, and you got Barrel. Now, what's interesting here is now they're actually utilizing their space a little bit differently. And also, there's a subtle statement of the relationships between the characters here, because Mega Man and Data are on the same page, and as it turns out, they're also on the same page as characters. Data came with Mega Man when Roll and Barrel found him, and of course, Roll is the daughter of Roll is the granddaughter of Beryl. What happened to her parents? Right, because that's the whole thing, is that she's looking for them. That always happens. The parents are always gone. Why are the parents always gone? Anyway, Tron, Bon, and the bonds and the serve bots. Once again, we keep them on one page. Although it's interesting that the Bon is over here, but I think they just couldn't fit him in there. I almost feel like they were trying to make it so that he could fit on there, but they didn't want him to get caught in the page fold. So it was like, well, he's got to be over here. And if you're going to have one of the characters be over there, it's probably Bon, because Tron and Teasel are the schemers of the group, and Bon is more of a muscle. He doesn't have as much character going on. And then you've got Glide and his Birdbot, and yeah, I mean, again, this kind of makes it almost seem like Bon should be paired with Glide and the Birdbots, but we know that he's not. In particular, because he's got their ship, although we haven't shown that anywhere in here. But in any case, just little arrangement things, and I think they were just kind of, there's a limitation that just comes with the fact that this book is what, like 3 inches by 3 inches, something like that, 2.3, 2.5. It's not very big. And then some remaining villains. You got Bola and Bancosis, and just enough space between these two guys, and also having them standing back to back, which lets you know that these two guys are connected to each other. And then Mueller is kind of on his own. And Matilda, as the mysterious woman, doesn't get an image. You will only see her in the game. And then, these two goofs, they show up later on in the game. You got some tips, just basic stuff. I mentioned that there's an underwater dungeon. Water dungeons are, well, they're a pain in the butt. And then, of course, get the edge, take it to the edge, destroy your book, prove to us that you own this game. I have too much fun with that. Anyway, that is the Megaman Legends 2 instruction manual. And, I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff that they did with that game. I did. I think between the two of them, I actually enjoyed Megaman Legends 1 more. The Legends 2 definitely had some cool stuff going on. I definitely did. And I have to applaud them for trying to do some interesting things. Because, Legends 1 was basically a very... it was essentially one island, even though you had zone transitions and everything. And with this one, they were like, well, we're going around the world, so we're going to try and represent those different places. But it's one of the things that happens when you try and do that, but you have limited space and everything, where you make the world feel smaller by the fact that you kind of have a limited interaction with spaces. But they still manage to... I think they recognize that with some of the zones, because they do make certain areas very sprawling. But then you have the other side of that token, which is that the area is sprawling and there's not much in it. And so it's kind of just distance for distance's sake. There's a balance that you have to hit there, and it's very hard. It's very hard to hit. At any rate, that's Megaman Legends 2. The instruction manual, I should say. So, this has been Redcoat of Vernacular Games, and I've gone through another subset of game books. If you'd like to avail yourself of our services as game developers and game designers, you can send us an email at vernaculargames.com. We do consultation work for board games, electronic games, and comics, actually. Now, on the comics side, we also offer storyboarding and help with kind of laying out your plot, getting things a little bit more clear, and also we help with concept images and all sorts of things. Basically, if you wanted, you could come to us with... Probably going to hate myself for saying this. You could come to us with a base idea, and we can help you flesh it out into a full-on story with subsected out into issues or amalgamations or collections, and get the and figure out what are your key elements, your key moments, the big pages, your big splashes, and all that stuff. But yeah, if that is of interest to you, you can also avail our services that way. And again, it's send an email to vernaculargames@gmail.com or at redcoatvernac at protonmail.com. You can also message us on X. We are Vernacular Games, and we use that channel primarily for reposting other people's independent works, because we want to see more. We want to see more of that stuff going on, and it is something I would like to do in the future. Is interview some of the creators of those works, and also play and review those games, and time, motivation, all those things. We will bring those into order such that that can happen. But for now, this is Redcoat signing off. Play the games you want to play, boyos, and have a wonderful day.